All right, this is one of those things that is going to be painful to watch, physically painful to watch, but you have to do it, sit through it. It's so gross and uncomfortable, but you just got to do it to get inside the minds of these people. So we got Mark Cuban interviewing Kamala Harris for 6 minutes.
You know, I watch Shark Tank all the time.
See, I knew I liked you.
And then I often, depending on, because, you know, there are a lot of reruns, I'll look it up to see how the company's doing.
Well, hopefully mine are doing well. Hey.
How are you, Mark?
Good. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So excited to talk to you.
I am excited to talk with you.
So I know it's a grind with an MBA season going city to city. So what does it feel like? I mean, just physically.
You know, long days. I start every day. I work out every morning.
And what's your workout?
Elliptical. And then I go all day long.
And are you just exhausted at the end of the day?
You know, your body doesn't lie to you when you first wake up in the morning.
Yep.
And then your brain kicks in and says, oh, everything will be fine, right?
And that workout just gets you going.
And it gets me going every morning.
So here's the other question I'd like to ask. We've talked about tech and innovation, how important it is to the economy and just dominating globally, right? Do you ever geek out at all?
All the time.
So tell me about that.
So my mother was a scientist, right? So I grew up as a kid going to the lab. I grew up seeing her have a passion about, she wanted to end breast cancer. She wanted to find a cure, and she did make breakthroughs in breast cancer research.
That's amazing.
And that's where the source of my geeking
It all
out,
comes from, right? But so now I got to ask, I was at your speech in Pittsburgh, and you talked about it took only a year to build the Empire State Building. And then you said that you were going to cut permitting, you were going to cut the time for licenses,
the red
for
tape,
all the red tape. So how do
down.
we take that and use it to cut the deficit?
So part of it is we cannot be rote in terms of how we think about deficits to say government spends too much, because I think that is overly simplistic.
I agree.
All right, so we have her trying to say that she's anti-red tape and that it's overly simplistic to say that the government spends too much money. All right, let's hear her out.
We have to ask, are we spending it in a smart way such that we are yielding a return on that investment?
Just like a regular business.
But this is exactly...
Who told her to say yielding a return on investment? That's not a thing that Kamala says ever. Like, I almost feel like Mark Cuban gave her a pre-script for this interview. That's not an organic term from Kamala, but I'm glad she brought up the question of, are we getting a good return or a good yield on the money we're spending? Because one of the things that is often cited from their Inflation Reduction Act that was almost $1 trillion is that we spent $42 billion to bring high-speed internet to the entire country. And that hasn't happened. It was brought up in Trump's interview with Joe Rogan the other night that Elon Musk, his Starlink, could have done that for a fraction of the price for the entire country, but they don't have the slightest bit of interest in doing that.
You're right.
I get all that right. So here's kind of the angle I was looking at tariffs on. I've known Donald Trump 25 years. He used to be okay on trade policy, but over the last 25 years, he's just lost it.
I don't think he pays attention to the details, and you can't be pressing enough.
Oh, but you do pay attention to the details. Good. Now I could rest at ease.
United States.
Unless you pay attention to the details.
Yeah, that's fine if he wants to, just give speeches in random places for random reasons. But to talk about such significant policy like tariffs, much less foreign policy, he is applying a machete when a scalpel is what's necessary.
She's been using the shit out of that line.
It makes no sense to me whatsoever. To me, I think Donald Trump is the Grinch that stole Christmas. This time next year, we're going to be thinking about Christmas presents for all of our kids. And if he puts a 60% tariff on everything from China, those prices are going up. And now all of a sudden, your vision of everything you wanted to have for your kids at Christmas is gone. Donald Trump just crushed it. And it's not just crushing people's Christmases. Those small companies that support communities, now all of a sudden, not only did their costs go up 60%, but their businesses were just shot.
Right.
It's funny for Mark to keep using this line that Donald Trump's going to steal Christmas because prices are going to go up. I mean, prices have gone up immensely since 2020, but he's not blaming Kamala or Biden for stealing people's Christmases. I mean, I'm sure that the record levels of inflation that we still have today on the most basic things like food, shelter, energy, I'm sure that's stolen a Christmas or two, but he's doesn't give the slightest consideration to that. He's just looking forward, saying that, oh yeah, Trump's tariffs are definitely going to ruin people's Christmases. And he's confidently saying that tariffs would hurt small businesses. Consider this. So imagine you have a small business that makes shoes and sells shoes to domestic customers in the United States. Does it help that business or hurt that business if China can make the same product for a fraction of the price because they can pay people $3 an hour when you have to pay people $15 an hour in America? Does it help or hurt the person who has to pay his employees $15 an hour if China has to pay more money to get its product here? Because, that business owner in America, they probably have to sell their shoes for $60 a pair, but China can come in and sell them for $20 a pair because it's still a massive profit for them if they're paying people $3 an hour to produce the shoe versus paying somebody $15 an hour to produce the shoe. Make sense?
He is going to put who knows how many small businesses out of business.
Goldman Sachs, Moody's, Wall Street Journal most recently, 16 Nobel laureates have all examined our policies. Mine, as has been reviewed, will strengthen the economy. His will weaken it. It will incite inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year, Mark.
I don't think he's ever run.
All right, good. Yeah, Nobel laureates from Goldman Sachs, Wall Street Journal, they said that Trump's is worse and that Kamala's is better. So let's just wrap it up and not even think about it anymore because they're always right. It's impossible that they have some kind of bias towards this, right? That'd be ridiculous. They're completely objectively looking at this.
A company where you have...
those are the same companies that said, yeah, no, the housing market's rock solid in 2007. Same companies that said, oh yeah, printing money won't create inflation.
To go deal with the fundamental basis of your business. He has no clue. And the worst part is he doesn't care.
Let's not forget he was handed so much of what he's had and has lost it. And he doesn't understand how people like you and...
Well, yes, he had an advantage, but he was handed millions and turned it into billions. So what percentage of people who are given or inherit millions of dollars turn into billions of dollars? Very few.
So many others, and this is what I love about the American people, who are hardworking, who have grit, who are innovative, and who start with nothing. And make something. And that's something he doesn't get.
No, obviously I've been investing in startups forever. When I work with these companies, it's their whole life.
Yeah.
They've given up something, and he doesn't realize that this person has worked 5 years, 10 years to save up enough money to start this business, or they just went for it. And he doesn't get that. And that's where the tax credit, and that's the other reason why talking about childcare and daycare, being able to have $6,000. So if you have a child and a newborn, you can keep on working.
A crib and a car seat. How are they going to actually afford, especially during that first year of the child's life? Right now, for so many of Gen Z, Gen X, the idea of the American dream is really elusive. It was an older concept.
It's tough. Yeah.
And a big part of it being housing supply. We don't have enough. And so the prices go up.
Yep.
That's why I want to build more housing supply, but also work with developers and home builders to cut the red tape and to get them
hardcore
tax
entrepreneurs.
credits.
Hardcore entrepreneurs.
Yeah, that I totally agree with. That you should definitely slash the red tape for home builders and give them the most powerful tax credit possible. But I do not for a second believe that she's going to cut red tape. Like when you say red tape for housing supply or for building houses, it's talking about zoning laws. Like she comes from the state who is the zoning law king of the world, California. If you look at like the extent, the grueling, rigorous process you have to go to get zoning laws changed or altered or built to build properties in California. Oh my God, that is like 3/4 of the battle. And I bet you she doesn't know the first thing about zoning laws. You know who I bet does know about zoning laws? The guy who's a massive real estate developer. If Mark Cuban was a sincere, unbiased person, I wish he would have asked her, all right, yeah, which red tape are you willing to cut to make it easier to build housing supply? You know what I think we should do if I were president? I would say companies like BlackRock, like if you have a market cap over, say, I don't know, $5 billion. Let's say if you have a market cap of over $5 billion as a company, you cannot buy single family houses with company money. But what you can do, if you want to go into that type of investment strategy, you could develop housing, you could build housing, you could buy property and build housing on it, and you get a tax abatement for 10 to 20 years. All right. So you have to put up the money or take out the loan to build the property on the land, but you don't have to pay taxes on it for the first 10 to 20 years. Boom. Incentive for companies with a ton of money to build houses.
Yeah, I think that is so important because, you know, one of the questions I get all the time is about work-life balance.
Yeah.
Because it's a challenge. You know, you've got to pay the mortgage, you've got to pay the rent, whatever, you got to pay the car payment and insurance. It's a tough decision to go start a business. Having a $6,000 tax credit gives you the comfort that you can get somebody to help your child. You can have some work-life balance. Right. And I don't think he's never been in that situation. Not all those people started like Donald Trump with a silver spoon, right? These are people putting their life on the line.
It's that energy and that grit, to your point, that is going to spur us into the future, right? Because here's the other thing about entrepreneurs. You can't be a successful entrepreneur without actually thinking about where are things going.
Look, we're here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and we're going to be talking to a bunch of kids. And I guarantee you, one of them is going to start a business, and that business just might be the next Nike, might be it's those kids that are going to change the world, invent the next technology.
The idea of knowing that it is possible for us, if we work and study something, that we can create something that improves and uplifts the human condition.
Of course.
That excites me to no end. Like that's where I see where we could actually combine a lot of our areas of focus.
For sure. And I wanted to let you know that as an entrepreneur, as an investor, as a geek, the things that you're doing matter. I'm getting more and more people emailing me, calling me, saying, maybe she really understands what it takes to be an entrepreneur, what it takes to be successful. And I know you've committed to that, so it's awesome.
Oh my God, what a freaking slurp fest. I feel like I need to go take a shower. I don't know what happened to Mark Cuban. Like he's like giddy puppy dog in this. I thought that Harry Sisson was the best at faking that he likes Kamala, but I think Mark Cuban is the best fake Kamala lover in the world. Like, well done with your acting. Like, yeah, I don't know. Send your theories in the comment section. Like, we need the masses behind this to speculate on why Mark Cuban loves Kamala Harris so much. But thanks for watching. Join the Forbidden Book Society Telegram, link below in the description. Love you guys. And subscribe. Please subscribe. And I will see you next time. Peace. If you want to know who controls America, I've made a multi-part series. Click right here to learn more about the $20 trillion family that might, in fact, own America.